Guys, I've got a flight in 12 hours.
I'm joking.
We're sitting here today with Mark Stratford, Vice President of Enterprise Solutions for Exertis North America. Mark, how are you?
Very good, thanks. You?
All right. Oh, good. Glad you could be here with us. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the Exertis Enterprise Group, what you all offer, what you're doing in the channel, and just kind of walk through that because we really want the audience to understand the enterprise system a little better here.
Yep. Okay.
Now, of course, we do have a really awesome PowerPoint provided by your marketing team to kind of go along with that story, and we'll walk through that a little bit. But I want to kind of start this out in your sort of, your statement here. What does the Enterprise Group do? What do you offer?
So the Enterprise Group is a class of mission-critical server storage and networking solutions that we design in collaboration with our customers for different vertical markets.
And those customers are traditionally the reseller channel, but there's also the manufacturing channel as well with the OEM division.
Absolutely. I think Exertis as a distributor is always does things a little bit different. We try to be that value-added distributor. So, of course, we support the reseller channel, but we also work with OEMs, with software vendors to help them create a product that they can identify as their own. And that can be from a hardware and a logistics standpoint to be able to put it into different territories.
Nice. Perfect. All right, let's jump into the next slide here and we'll kind of walk through this. Now, don't be shocked by this first one here. This is a very snazzy picture of you. This is good. Like,
handsome man.
This is a handsome man with that. So there's Mark. Let's jump into the next one, team. We'll kind of walk through this. Okay, so now from an enterprise focus, it's a very diverse focus, and enterprise is very diverse.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so the way we look at it is sort of the enterprise scales across the, our music business with Jam to our broadcast group to our Pro AV group. So talk to me about the different applications, or I guess the different hardware solutions that you're delivering.
I think enterprise is a very broad term. It can be something as simple as an SD card or a bit of RAM, and it can go all the way up to a full rack and stack in the data center. And I think the reason enterprise is such a big play for Exertis, not just in North America, but globally, is the fact that it fits into every vertical. Everything now is up in the cloud. Everything now is backed up. Everything's archived. Doesn't matter what business you're in, there's a need for some sort of enterprise storage.
Yeah. No, so that was interesting. You said storage there, and storage is one of these pieces from a standpoint. We sort of view storage always as an enterprise product, when in terms of really it goes across every vertical, every sort of from a mom and pop boutique shop to a large corporation uses storage, be it in the cloud or on-prem.
Absolutely.
And that is one of the core applications that your team is delivering.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, I mean, even if you look at from a commercial level, your phones, everyone has an iPhone these days, everyone uses iCloud, or everyone's data's backed up. So it could be a little storage unit in the corner of a shop, or it could be, like I said, a full deployment in a data center.
Nice. All right, so let's go through the presentation a little further here and discover what else. So I think this is a really great question here, and rather than reading off the screen, why Exertis Enterprise?
I think we're unique. I think we're a distributor and we have the capabilities of a distributor, but we don't think like a distributor. We're not a company that simply ships a part number. Our main priority is to focus on our customers' needs. And once we understand our customers' needs, we then work in collaboration with our customers to develop the products that are giving them the cutting edge against their competition as well. I think repeat business is a must. And the only way you get repeat business is building the trust of your customer base and enabling them really to make profitability within their customer set.
Now, I think there's a really interesting statement you made there, which was developing. Right? Oftentimes we view distribution as a box on a shelf that we're shipping to a customer. But in your case, you're developing custom solutions for the clients, right? Based on their sort of needs, their application.
Absolutely that. I mean, you can have customers that sell into a specific vertical, but they can utilize us for our expertise around our hardware, server, and storage, and we can go to them with what we recommend. They take to their customer base, or maybe a new technology is going to be released in the next 6 to 12 months that we can start prepping our customers with and giving them the ability to go out and talk about these new technologies before they necessarily come to the mainstream. Or you go one step further and you're actually building products for software vendors or OEM in products for vendors that can be literally from the design up, from bending metal to the component integration to the support to the branding.
So let's explore that one for a second, because that's really interesting to me, because we've got the traditional reseller channel that we're selling to, right? And we're, all four pillars of the Exertis North American group, from the music group to the broadcast group to the Pro AV, and then you to the enterprise, are sort of selling to the same reseller channel. But you brought up a really interesting one there, which was OEM development for the ISVs, for the software partners. Yep. So talk to me a little bit more about, I mean, I think that's very different from a distribution standpoint. You don't typically see that in distribution.
No, absolutely.
Delve into it a little.
Absolutely. I mean, look, I think our vendors can be our customers, as important as they are for our standard distribution model. There's a lot of value add that a distributor can bring with all the relationships he holds across multiple vendors. And I think if you're experts in hardware, like I believe we are across the group, we have the capabilities to take that hardware stress away from maybe the vendors that want to concentrate on software. Maybe they want to just make their margin stack on software, but they don't necessarily want the headaches of supporting the hardware. But if we can take that headache away from the customers or the OEMs and support the hardware, but they can still get recognition for the revenue and the profit, well, it's pretty much a no-brainer.
Yeah. That's interesting. So that actually plays into the next slide, if we jump over to that one. And it's really this concept of sort of how you guys operate and how your team operates. And I like this, the ability to consult with what that application needs to be, design that or spec that application, design it, and then of course, because we are distribution, take that all the way down to the logistics side and deliver it.
Absolutely. I think, look, the one thing is we don't proclaim to be experts on everything. Right, we understand hardware, but if our customers have a specific software, they know their software far better than we do. So the consultancy stage is very important. It's working in collaboration with each other. We need to understand what they need from their hardware engine, so we understand their software. And once we've done that consultation part and you understand how you can maximize that from a hardware appliance or server or storage pool or whatever it may be, you then start designing it in collaboration. And that can go backwards and forwards. It can take 2, 3, 4 turns, and you get to a point where you think, right, we now feel it's optimized, and then it can go to the next stage where you take to market. And that can be as a standard branded unit, or you could create complete bespoke identity from packaging, from branding of solutions and logistics. So,
well, and that isn't, oftentimes we consider that sort of big bare metal servers that are going to run applications, but these applications can be small nooks and branded, little tiny branded appliances. So it kind of runs a large gamut there in terms of solution style.
Yeah, and I think definitely with the way the world's going at the minute and everything that's happened in the last few years, I think the workplace has changed, and that's created more opportunity for a lot of vendors. And it doesn't necessarily have to be this high-end bit of tin. Sometimes it's just a little bit of intelligence that can be put on a desk or into an office. And I think you're absolutely correct. It could start off as a nook, and it could scale up depending on what the business does.
Yeah. Now let's take that world concept for a second right there, because we mentioned sort of things changed, and they did. But remote work has always been around. I mean, you've been working remote for some time now, right? It didn't take a pandemic to do that. But how has sort of the last couple, I guess really what I want to say is, with supply chain being what it is, how should we be preparing our clients for the expectation of this sort of the modern supply chain right now?
I think there's no hiding the fact it's difficult at the minute. There's been lots of issues within the world within the last couple of years, and there's been a huge impact on component shortages across the globe, no matter what market you're working in. And I'm not just talking enterprise storage; it's the same for cars. It's across every industry. But all we can do is work with our customers and understand what their future business looks like. If we open up the lines of communication, if we understand their business and we're close to our customers like we should be, then it will give us the foresight to be able to forecast to our vendors to try and get as much stock as possible to be able to create these applications or solutions, or even supply these components to our customer base. And that's all we can do, really.
Or help them pivot to something else, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Understanding what is available versus and how can they achieve that on other hardware.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I like it. Let's scroll forward a little more here, team. So a couple, talk to me about some of the core specializations. I mean, there's a nice little doc here that
Yeah, look, again, I think I sort of mentioned it earlier. I think, look, enterprise is such a broad term, and realistically, we can play in any vertical market. Again, it's understanding what the customer does, and that could be big data, it could be advanced intelligence, it could be having higher GPU powered systems for one vertical, it could be small and niche for another. I think the vertical market is all down to what that customer's doing in that vertical market. So we need to understand the customer's value add offering, and once we understand that, then we'll use our expertise around hardware. And that doesn't matter whether you're in VDI, it doesn't matter if you're in the data center space.
Well, and in enterprise, there's this sort of feeling that enterprise is companies of 1,000 people or more, or 10,000 or more, right? But the reality is small to medium-sized businesses are using enterprise technology.
Absolutely.
Right, and more often than not need it more than those enterprise companies do.
Absolutely. And look, cost per gigabytes are always driving down. Look, things that cost hundreds of pounds 20 years ago, I mean, it's scary, the capacity points that we get to now. So I think one of the key shifts is, look, enterprise storage was always looked at the high end. And I think the SMB market always thought, well, we can't dip our toes into that market from a cost standpoint. The reality is enterprise storage can start at a couple of $100 and it can go up to the thousands or even the millions. But now you'll get an enterprise grade product that could probably handle your workloads without breaking the bank.
Yeah, always good. Team, let's move forward. All right, so okay, let's go through the concept sort of from a reseller's perspective. How do you engage and what can you do for them? How can you help, so to speak?
I think the most important thing is to be close to every reseller, every customer that you've got. You've got to understand their business. It's the most important thing. A customer's needs is what drives your business. So for me, it's being close to the customer. It's understanding their market, but also understanding what they're going to do to future-proof their business. Are they looking to diversify in the next few years? Are there technologies that we could take to them that could maybe help them pivot into new vertical markets? So for me, it's all about communication, and that's a two-way street. We've got to communicate what's coming out. We've got to tell them what we believe fits in their existing vertical markets or what we believe is better, but also understand where they see themselves in 6 months or 12 months down the line. And adapt into that to support them.
Yeah, but one of the things I do like is the fact that your team can kind of help with product design and solution architecture with it. So when these resellers come with a specific problem in mind or a specific workflow in mind, your sort of goals there are to help them develop the right hardware package to solve that problem, right? To encompass
Absolutely.
it and give them sort of a custom solution that they can take out on their own.
Absolutely, Absolutely.
Next slide, see. Mark, how does enterprise work within the whole of Exertis North America?
I think there's a massive collaboration play for all of the different Exertis businesses. I think, look, one of the prerogatives we have as a company is to not just sell one product, it's go end to end. So whether guys at Broadcast do so well, whether guys at Pro AV do so well, is they're always looking to go in there and maximize their sales and maximize the right technologies going into them. And the reality is enterprise can fit across any of them. It's about trying to give the customer a one-stop shop, whether it be Broadcast, whether it be Enterprise, whether it be Pro AV, all three of us into one deal. I think it's about working in collaboration, understanding our positives from each division and utilizing them.
All right, Mark, we've talked a lot about sort of where the resellers fit into the business, into the enterprise business, but there's a division that enterprise offers here that is more built towards, I would say, manufacturers, right? And software developers. Yeah. And that's the OEM business. Talk to me a little about what the OEM group can do for, effectively manufacturers.
Yeah, our OEM options really developed to take hardware headaches away from our manufacturers or our software vendors. I think you'll find in the marketplace there's a lot of people that will have to have some sort of hardware appliance, whether it's low-end or server, high-end storage, but they don't really want to necessarily get involved with the hardware. They might already have a good margin stack on the products they've got, and they see it, the fact that hardware can break, it can be an overhead that a manufacturer or a software vendor doesn't want to get involved with. And what we like to do is take that headache away from the vendor. We can create bespoke solutions, we can support the solutions, and we can deliver the solutions globally. So really all it does is creates extra revenue and profit on their purchase orders. They make the money on the software, they make the money on the hardware, but all the hardware is supported by Exertis and designed either as a white box type solution or completely branded to the customer's logo and packaging.
Mark, thank you for being here telling us about the Enterprise Group. For more information on how to get a hold of the Enterprise Group or to connect with them, go to exertisusa.com/enterprise. And of course, you can connect with Mark and the rest of the team there. All right. Thanks for being here.
Thanks a lot, Nick.